later. All right, so now that I'm recording and we'll get started with this. This is the course that you'll be accepting if you go into Canvas, which has all the little pieces and parts of what I'm teaching today. Everything from an introduction to Adobe Acrobat, to how to edit your PDFs, how to make a fillable form, sending. This is the big one of how to send a file to be signed electronically. I have videos on all of that in this document that goes from every one of those little participating parts of that, from management to sending to multiple, not files, but multiple people on one document. All that stuff is on there. So with that being said, those of you that have installed Adobe Acrobat DC on your computer, if you click on your Start button, you should be able to access it in your Start menu. Okay, or there's several other places you could get to it from, but that's the location that most people start it from, or on your desktop. Either one's perfectly fine. Once you start the program, it's going to come up to just the home page basically of Adobe, kind of like this. And if you have worked with PDF files, they'll be here. Okay, and you can reopen them very easily. If somebody, whoever came in, would mute their mics, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so, all right. So from there, we want to open a document, and then I'm going to explain what all these tools are right here for Adobe. So if I'm on Adobe, I can open up any file by going File, Open, or I can actually go from my computer. If I've saved things to the cloud, I can go to Save from the Cloud. But I'm going to find a document that I can open up and I can use. Okay, so I already opened up my file, so this is the file that I have. I guess I can open up the other file that I sent to you all, and let's go ahead and open up that file. So I'll be having the same file that you guys have. There we go. Okay, so up here in the main bar, you have, I don't like it when it opens up to 190% because that's just way too big for me. So I reduced mine to 100, 110%, but whatever's comfortable for you to work in is the size that you want to use. All right. You can do several different things up here on this main screen without even going to the full tools. You can do what you can do on other programs. You can highlight, okay, where I can highlight things. I can add little comments, but that's not really editing. That's kind of just looking at the actual document. If you have not been able to select something, like some people don't know that you can select, sometimes it gets stuck on the hand to pan around. And if you're panning, you can't actually highlight. And that confuses people sometimes in Adobe. If you want to select anything from a PDF, make sure that you're on the arrow so that you can actually select the text that you want to use. The other question is, why can't I select something on all documents that are PDFs? If they have scanned in, if someone has scanned in a document on the Sharp machines, that scan becomes a picture. And it's not really text anymore. It's a picture. So you can't actually select text. That's not the end of the game, though, okay? Because when we go to edit mode, it will scan your document for you, and using ocular technology, it will read the document. And if there's words on there, it will change them into text for you so you can actually alter the text. But that's the two things that you're looking at. You should be able to highlight your text. If you can't, it's a picture or it's a locked document, and you should be able to change that unless it's locked. You should be able to change it by going to edit a PDF on the right-hand side. When I'm working with tools on the right-hand side of the screen, you may, the box with all of us on it, with all of our little thumbnails on it might be in the way. You can either hit the button on the far left of that bar and basically collapse them all, or you can move that entire bar over to the other side or a different portion of your screen. That's another option that you have, but you can reduce that size if you want to get those people out of the way so you can see that right-hand side of the screen, because that's where all your tools will be, or they'll be on the tools screen. So let me start going through some of the stuff real quick, because I'd like to get through all of this by about 4:10 or 4:15 so we can spend the last half hour on the digital signature portion, because a lot of people want to make sure they have that down before anything else. I mean, after everything else. Okay, so let me go over some of these tools. If these are the tools that you have available to you. Some of them are over here on the right-hand side, but all of them are listed under the tools bar on the top left of the menu bar at the top. If I look at this, I'm going to just kind of describe some of these before we actually do anything. Create a PDF and combine files are very similar. Create a PDF, just you can select a file from a Word document, a PowerPoint, any other file type of document that's on your hard drive, and then you can convert it into a PDF. Same thing with combined files. Create a PDF as one file. Combined files is multiple files, multiple types. So let's say that they tasked you with creating an instructional book or a booklet, that a little magazine for putting out information about human resources or our students with exceptionalities. If they wanted you to use that, and you have something that's in an Excel spreadsheet that shows data, and then you have a PowerPoint you wanted to put in there, and then you have a cover sheet that's in Word, you could make those all into one PDF very quickly by clicking on the combine files and then adding your files to it. Okay, so that part, let me close that. That part is really easy. All it does is it does take about 30 seconds to a minute. It has to start the converter, and it actually combines those files, and suddenly you'll have all those files together into one PDF. Okay, and I'll explain what to do if they're not in the right order in just a minute. Back to tools. You have organized pages. That's what you're going to do if they're not in order. Let's say I selected all those files and I put them all together into one document. If I click on organize files, you can see how the different pages are here. There might be 10 or 12 different pages, or 50 pages, depending on how big, depending on how big your file is. I can literally just grab these and move them around. That's how simple it is to change around a PDF and the PDF structure. I can also take them out. I can extract those pages, or I can insert new pages. Okay. If I need to insert, like, let's say this year is 2021. Next year's 2022, but we have a page that says 2021 on it, and I want to remove that whole page and put in brand new stuff for next year. I could extract that one page, put in my new page, and move on. I don't have to destroy or remake the whole thing or anything like that. So organized pages is a very good example of how you can actually take a big PDF and either move things around, or just extract certain pages that I want, or insert pages after I have deleted specific pages. Okay.
Roger, can I ask
Yep.
you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when we're organizing these pages, can some of the pages already be in PDF format, or should they always be coming either from like Excel or Word?
Well, you can't organize the pages until you have changed it into a PDF document. So the first thing is to combine the files. Once I've combined all the files, it makes one PDF document. It might be 20 pages, and it might have had a PowerPoint, an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, but now they're all PDFs.
Oh, okay.
Then I go to organize pages and move them around to how I want them to be in order. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. It's all good. The next one over there is the edit. So far, all we've been doing is making and organizing our pages. If you can see on this sheet, let me get out of that and close that. On this PDF document, right now, I can't really do anything. I'm not changing anything. I'm not doing anything. I can select things, but it's not something that I can can change. If I click on edit, and I can do that here, or I can do that over here, all it does is it scans the document and says, hey, what text is on this page that I can actually do something with? Now that I have that, I can actually highlight the text or do whatever I want. And you can see over here on the right-hand side, I can change the font. I can change the size, the color, what type of font it is, whether I want to change it into bulleted or numbered lists. It has all the options of a regular text editor. And you can just come in here and say, well, it's no longer 2016, it's 2019 now, because we've upgraded our version, and I can change that. Pictures are the same way. I could remove this picture. I can go up here to the top. I can even add a new picture. And I can add a new picture into my file. I could get rid of the old one, keep the old one, whatever I want to do, but I can actually edit while I'm in PDF format and change the things that I've been doing. Okay, so that's really easy here with Adobe Acrobat. You can add new text. It'll add a new text box. If, let's say I want to add something somewhere specific, and not just edit, but actually add text. I can also put hyperlinks in. Be very, very careful when you crop pages. If you have one page, it's okay. Crop it, do what you want with it. But if you have multiple pages, if you crop one page, you're going to have a regular size page, and then a small page. And then a regular size page, it won't look right. So be careful with the crop pages button. Okay. Header footer is just like in Word. If I want to add a running header or a running footer on my PDF, you can click on header footer, add your header footer to your document very simply. Watermarks are the same way. Maybe I want to put draft on the back of it. Many of these things are very similar to what you're working with Word or with Google Docs. So if you've worked with either one of those, you're fine in here, no problems. All right. So moving on with some more tools. That's the edit button. Export PDF is what a lot of people ask me for this program, but they don't realize everything that it can do. Export PDF allows you to actually take a PDF and change it into some different things. Hang on. I can change it into a spreadsheet. I can change it into a PowerPoint, an image, it can change it into a web page if I want it to, but it can actually export into those. Now, understand that depending on your margins, it might change your formatting a little bit. So that's the danger of coming out of a PDF into a regular thing. I don't have access to edit PDFs. I am being offered a free trial when I click on it. Okay.
So what would you do with this kit?
Say that again. Who just asked me that?
Caitlin, I need you to mute or ask the question again, please.
Okay.
Roger, I'll walk around there.
Okay, roger that. Thank you. All right. So you can export that into plenty of different options if you want to. That's not a problem. All right. So don't worry about scan or OCR. That's basically if I have a scanner hooked up to my computer, and most of you do not. So you'll scan them in through your actual Sharp printer, and then you'll just use the edit button to actually take a look at those documents. The second one, we'll cover this in just a little bit. Adobe Sign, they've changed this a few times. So if you've looked at this in the past month or two, it used to say like prepare signature. And then it said something else. And now they've changed it within the last 2 weeks to say Adobe Sign. So they've been changing the names on these for a little bit now. But Adobe Sign is what you're going to be using if you want an electronic signature on a document. And that's very important, especially if you like need to send out an IEP or a 504 or something from HR or anything else that I need or that you need to have documents signed by someone, and you need to track that electronically. And we'll cover that fully in just a little bit. Fill and sign is I have a document that I need them to fill the form out and then sign it. Okay, so that's the other part of this is if you have a document for them to fill out, you're going to use this instead of just this. This is just for signatures. This is actually to have them go, answer these 5 questions and then sign it, or check these boxes of yes or no and then sign it. And we'll go over a little bit of that. Prepare a form. I will cover that. Preparing a form is making a fillable document. So if I just want a fillable document, I can send to someone. I can take what I created in Word and I can make a fillable form that can be sent. Now, this is the only thing that you have to tell everyone that you send this form to. Don't open this in your browser and expect to be able to save it or save the document with your filled out information. You could print it, okay, but it won't save your information. They need to open this up in Adobe Reader. So if you send them a form, tell them to download the form and then open it up from the hard drive. That way it'll be opening up in a reader and you can actually fill it out. They can save it or they can send it. They can do whatever they want, but browsers normally will allow you to see it. They'll normally allow you to type in it and even print it, but you won't be able to save the information that's on that document. Sometimes in some browsers, like in Firefox and whatnot, it won't even send properly. It'll be blank when it comes to the other side. So when you're sending someone a fillable form, make sure you tell them to download it and then open it up from their hard drive so that they can actually fill it out in Adobe Reader, not in their Chrome browser or Firefox browser or Edge or whatever they have as a browser. Okay. On here on the tools, I'm not going over all the tools, but the ones that would be important to all of your stuff. Protect is locking a document. By locking a document, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, you can't copy any text from this document. You can't do anything to this document. I'm locking it for personal property rights, basically, and you're just sending that document to them just to read or just to have. Can they do something with this document? Sure, I could actually send it through an OCR program and I could get it and then I could edit it, but you couldn't edit the original. And that's the point of the protection, be preventing people from editing your original document. Okay. Redaction, you've probably seen redacted documents. If you're in a PDF and you redact, it's not like taking a black magic marker and putting it across text, because if you did that, you could still hold it up to the light and see the actual printing underneath your marker that you put on there. Redaction removes the printed text and puts a black box where the text used to be. So there is no possible way for them to get sensitive information from a redacted document, because like maybe you got the information, but you wanted to get rid of their social security number that was next to theirs, but it needed to have the space still on there. If I redacted it, the space would still be there, but it would be blanked out as a black box. Okay. All right. So now that I've rushed through all of that information, here's the last one that I'll cover as in tools. Optimize a PDF. If you put in 15 pictures into your Word document, and they're high resolution pictures from your cell phone or a high res camera. And when you save the document, it's like 30 megabytes or 50 megabytes, and you can't send this through the email system because 25 megs is our max. If you optimize the PDF, what it does is it takes all those pictures that you have grabbed the corner and shrunk down, and it takes away all the excess pixels you don't need as a human to see, and it makes the size of the picture not smaller in size, but smaller in space, like pixels. So it doesn't take up as much space on a hard drive, and it makes the whole file size smaller and compacts it. So you can take a PDF and make it about 1/3 less. Okay. All right. I did download it. I'm trying to go back also. I will, Tanya, get with me after this because I'll talk about, or I'll get with you about the whole issue that you're having. I'm just making sure nobody else has any questions before I move on. And if you came in here late after the beginning of this class, make sure you type your name into chat. I'm saving the chat later so I can give you guys your credit. All right, so moving on. The rows down here at the bottom in customize, unless you are a total geek like me and you can actually program, you don't even need to look at this bottom. Okay, that's for JavaScript and creating action items that are actually for programming purposes that go into a PDF. You can take this to a whole nother level. We're not doing that. Okay. All right. So I showed you basically, let me close that. I showed you basically from the last 15 minutes or 20 minutes that the tools that are available in Adobe. And now I want you to take the next 5 minutes. For those of you that have the option, because I'll talk to Tanya in a second, those of you that have the option, open up a PDF, and I want you to actually go in and I want you to do something with it. Edit it, change it. I mean, it's saved on your hard drive, so it's not going to harm my feelings if you delete stuff, but play with it just for about 5 minutes. We'll come back in just a second. I want you to be able to do that. All right, while that's happening, I'm going to stop share for a second. And I'll talk to you, Tanya. Just give me a second. If you'll unmute, I'll start talking you through this whole process. So the big thing about this, Tanya, is do you have access to Adobe Creative Cloud? Did they have that installed on your computer? Or did you install it? I should say we don't install it.
I did yesterday.
Okay, fantastic. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to your desktop, and I want you to double click on the rainbow looking Adobe icon. Once you have opened that Adobe icon, it's going to open the Creative Cloud program. And in the upper right corner, there's a blue pie. It looks like a pie. I want you to click on that, and you should see that say E0 at muskogee.k12.ga.us. If it does not, or if that blue pie is not there and it says sign in, I want you to sign in with your E0 number at muskogee.k12.ga.us and your password.
I've done that already.
Okay, so then open up Adobe Acrobat now, not the reader, but Acrobat. And you'll know that when you look up at the top bar at the very, very top of your screen, once the program is open, it should say Adobe Acrobat Pro DC, and it should not say Adobe Reader. And then tell me when you've got that.
Okay.
All right. So now that you're in that, in the upper right corner, do you still see that you have the blue pie?
Yes.
Fantastic. And if you're in Adobe Acrobat, can you open up a file and try to edit it? While she's doing that, is there anybody that's had any issues or any questions while you have been playing with the editing functions of Adobe?
Roger, I do.
Yes.
The version that I have, at least currently on Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat DC,
Mhm.
when you go to the tools and you are, which I know you're about to talk with us about in just a second,
Sure.
it's the where it says forms and signatures. Ours
Uh-huh.
still says request signatures. It does
Okay.
not say the other. So is that still okay?
Yeah, that's still fine. It's just they haven't changed the icon yet on yours.
Okay.
Not a problem. Yeah,
Okay.
they just keep changing the darn icon with the name. The function of it is exactly the same, so that part doesn't change.
Okay.
I haven't seen any changes in the functionality, just the name.
All right.
All
Thank
right. Oh, no, absolutely. It's all good. Okay, Tanya, you good?
Yes. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Is there any other questions before we move on? Is there any other questions before we move on to the next section? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk through the process of requesting an actual signature, digital signature. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my tools and I'm going to say, hey, for this example form, you can see this form that I've got up here. And it's basically just a basic form that says, hey, this is all the information for you. And I'm going to go over first one person signing a form, and then I'm going to go over 2 people signing a form. Very basic. It's pretty much the same, but I want to cover both of them. And that way you get to see it twice. So you can actually, and then after this is all over with, the best thing to do is you to pair up with somebody else and try this. Send a document to the other person for signature. They'll sign it and send it back to you so that you can actually see how this works and get comfortable with it before you actually start using it in regular practice. Okay. So how this works is if I go to my tools, you can see that this example form is still highlighted. I'm going to go to yours says request signature. Mine says Adobe Sign. I'm going to click on it. And you'll notice that it suddenly pops up that, hey, this is powered by Adobe Sign. And it's going to ask, hey, who do I want to sign this? And I'm going to say that I'm going to send it to my personal email. I'll send it to my Gmail. All right, so there's my Gmail. Okay, so I'm sending this to my Gmail account. And if you want to add a CC means I'm sending it to a third party that's going to get a copy of this once it's signed. Like, let's say my boss, even though I'm doing everything, she or he wants the signed form as documentation. You can actually CC them using that button right there. Okay. So, but the person that's going to sign it is going to be the one that's in here, right here. All right. So once I do that, I'm going to specify where I'm going to have to sign the form. So all I've done now is put their email address and specify where to sign. So it has literally opened up this Adobe Sign function, and it'll bring in my form into Adobe Sign. And now, if you look on the right-hand side, the email address is right here. That's the recipient. So if you can't see me on the right-hand side, this is where you need to, oh, you can't see me at all.
Roger, are you supposed to be sharing your screen?
Yeah, I am. I'm
Okay,
not
because I was
showing you
like,
that. You're great. I'm totally talking. And
I was saying the same thing, Robin. I was like, I don't see
let me
this.
start this one over, guys.
yes, let's do. Thank you.
No, no problem. All right, so I'm going to start at the beginning again, which is this right here. I have a form that this form right here basically is just a form that has a bunch of stuff on it. And it allows you to actually have a name and a signature for somebody that I want to sign this form. I also have a second one, like I said earlier, but we're just going to do one for right now. And then I'm going to go over it a second time to let you see it happen twice, so you get the kind of idea of it. And you heard the rest of my spiel, which is basically practicing with each other. So once that happens, I go over here to Tools, and you can see that the tab is still highlighted for my form that I'm using. I go down here to Adobe Sign, which for yours is still saying request signature, but that's fine. It's the same thing. When you click on it, it's going to start Adobe Sign automatically. Just wait for it. Don't freak out when it doesn't start right away. It starts in about 3 or 4 seconds. And then you can see on here that you need to add a email address. I'm going to add my Gmail address up here. And like I was saying earlier, there's a little tiny CC up here in the corner. And that's where if I want to add someone who's going to get this file also, but not have to sign it. They're just getting the final document because they need it for their records or whatever. But if I'm tracking this, it's just the only thing I need to do is put an email address in here and then click specify where to sign. So when I click specify where to sign, it opens up Adobe Sign automatically. And it brings in my document. And you can see it's the same document, but now it's in Adobe Sign. Over here on the right-hand side, there's this recipient, and then there's some stuff down here. If you don't see this down here, click the advanced editing. Then you should see it. And the first thing I want to do is on the signature fields, do not use signature block unless you know what you're doing. Signature is what I want. I'm going to grab signature and pull that out and put it next to my signature. Under signer fields, that's the one below signature fields, I'm going to find name and pull the name right over here also. That's all I need to do for a signature. Just those two things. Signature and the name block. That's it. Now I'm going to click send. It will give you a response that says, hey, this form has been successfully sent for signature. Okay, that's basically where we sit right now. Now, let me go to before I go and sign it, let me show you what it looks like beforehand. Online is where you track and manage this stuff. So if I need to go somewhere, I'm going to go to the Adobe Sign login. I just Google it. I never remember where it's at. So it's under secure.ecosign.whatever. But Adobe Sign login. All right, this is the important part here. When you get to the Adobe Sign login, you're going to put your login information right here. e0@muskogee.k12.ga.us. Do not type your password in. Just click in the password area. Watch. It automatically signs you in because we're single sign-on. So don't start typing your password in there. Just click in the password section and it will log you in to Adobe Sign online. If I go to the Manage button up here on the left-hand side, you're going to see that, hey, I have sent something to roger.c.40.@gmail.com. Okay, and it's made and it's out for signature. So I know that it's out. I know I can track it. Okay. I can open the document and look at it if I want to, but it's the same document I sent. Nobody has signed it yet. All right. Over here on the left-hand side, you can see the waiting for you and in progress. If something has been sent to you for signature, it'll be in here. So unless you're getting ready to sign something, you don't need it. You don't need to have this at all. Completed, those are the documents that you have already had signatures for. If I've sent it to someone and got a signature, I can come back over here and I can open up that document. And I can actually see the document, see the signature, and there's a search bar that I can actually look at all these things. So that's not a problem. Also, any documents I've canceled or they have expired or our drafts are all saved in this manage area. So that part is all good to go. So let me go to my email so I can show you. Only if I can get, oh, you know what? Go to another one. Hey, anybody want anything off of Amazon? I mean, oh yeah. All right. I was looking for Gmail on our school account, and guess what? We don't have any Gmail. All right, so okay, so if I click on, this is me as a parent. If I click on my email, it's going to say, hey, Roger has requested your signature on this example form. Review and sign. And this is me. So I'm going to review and sign it. As a parent, I can actually come down here. And when I click in here, I can read it, do what I need to do. It tells me where to go. So if you have a multi-page document, it's going to have an arrow and it's going to literally point them to where they need to sign. And it'll actually come down here and go signature. So I can do it several different ways. If you can see this box, I can type it, draw it, take an image. Like if I took a picture with my phone and saved it on my hard drive, I can use that. I can even do it on my mobile phone. It will send a text to my mobile phone and let me sign. It will take a picture of that signature and send it back so I can actually use it as my signature. There's a lot of different ways. I'm just going to type it in here. It does a font, so it allows you to actually type in a font. So I'm just going to type in my thing and I'm going to apply it. You'll notice that it takes your name. Whoever signed it is going to put their name automatically up there. I didn't have to type anything in. They didn't have to type their name. The signature is what actually puts the name above. All right, so that's what it does for the signature and the name slot. Down here below at the very bottom, they still have to click to sign it. So they've applied all this stuff. Then they click to sign. It says by signing, you're all there. And you can see now you're all set. That's all I had to do. It took me longer to talk through it than actually as a parent to sign it. Once it's been signed, you can download a copy of the signature that you've got. But let me get that out of the way so I can get back to my thing. Go back to this. Okay. I'm going to refresh. Oh, Kate Bauer's back. Okay. All right. So you'll actually see once it's actually been signed, there are no more signatures that are in progress. It has moved to the complete file. And you'll notice that when I open this complete file, it is signed and it's dated right here, May 13th, 2021 at 16:28 Eastern Daylight Time was when I signed this form. So I can actually track those forms, find out when they were signed, by who they were signed, and all that wonderful jazz. So
Hey,
let
so
me
Roger,
Yep.
what did I do wrong? I sort of went through that with just some piece of paper, basically, that I had in a PDF.
Mhm.
But it did do my signature, but it did my email below it. What did I do to get it to do that?
I don't know. It shouldn't have. It should have actually, unless. Did you click on this? Did you click on type or did you click on something else?
I clicked on type.
When you actually went through and grabbed the on the right hand side for the recipient, and then you have signature, and then you have, did you add something from over there besides signature?
No, and I got the box
Huh.
just like you showed us just a second ago, and
Yeah.
clicked the type my name in, and then
Yeah.
sent it, and
So,
but
and
then my
so
email landed underneath it.
instead of the date and time.
It does have the date and time in blue right underneath my signature.
Okay. I don't know. I'll have to look at what happened, because I don't know. Nobody's ever brought that up to me. So okay. So I'll have
If
to
it
look
could
at
happen, it always happens to me.
Yeah, no
That's exactly
problems.
what I was gonna say, Joanne. Leave it to you.
But let me, yeah, it's a good point. So let me
Thank you
take a
for all
look at
that
that
support,
later on.
Robin.
All right. So let me go back to our example. Okay, that we're here. Let me get out of this. So get out of this. I'm going to open that file up again. If I can remember what I did with the stupid file. Go to home. Here we are. Okay. So now that I'm back at this file again, remember this is the file that we used. I'm going to go where I need the parent signature, and maybe I need a counselor's signature. I need to send it to both of them. Okay. So if I do that, I'm going to start off the same way that I did before. I'm going to go to my tools, and I'm going to go to Adobe Sign. When I open up Adobe Sign, I'm going to add she'll love getting an email from me. All right. So I added my wife and I added myself. Okay, my personal email. So I have a counselor and I have a parent or a guardian or whatever I need to have as multiple people that are going to sign the same form. Now I'm going to click on specify where to sign. So I'm going to click on specify where to sign. It does the same thing as it did before. It brings up Adobe Sign. And over here on the right-hand side, if I use the drop down, you'll notice that there's more than one recipient down here. There is Angie's and there's my signer also. It says sign. Don't worry about this one up here. That's the person that owns the account. So it'll have your name up there. So mine. That's the pre-fill. This here is what you're actually doing. All right. So I'm going to start off with Angie. And I'm going to pull her signature out. And then I'm going to pull her name out. Are you sure you didn't pull the email right there out, by the way? Because the email is right below the name. So anyway, I'll take a look later. Select the second person. And since I'm already in the signer fields, I'm going to grab name. And then I'm going to grab the signature. Put that in there too. And I can line them up and make them look nice and all that kind of stuff, but not this second. And I'm going to send this document out. It's been sent. So now I'm going to go to my personal account. Back to your box. And review and sign. No, it's not it. Unread. Okay, why didn't it get me? I guess because I sent it to the same document, same place. Oh no, it's gonna let me. All right. Okay, so I'm in here. Oh, this is what it should do. On the first one, we'd have to run through the same stuff, but then the other person would also have to look at it. I don't know why it's not showing my new email. I'll have to take a look at that. It should be, I see that they're both here, but there should be a third one that's here. So anyway, let me go back to here and let me go to, get out of that. Okay. All right. So if I'm in here, there's two people that are waiting to be signed. When I click on it, it will tell me how many people and who has signed it or has not signed it. I didn't get it in my email box, but that's where it will go. I've been shooting too many to it, but it actually needs two signatures. It will go to one, then it will go to the next. So I didn't mark in any order, so I'm guessing that it went to Angie first. Okay, so you can do it in either order if you would like, but it will actually go to one, then go to another. I see it right there on the right-hand side. It's got to go to Angie first, and then it's going to go to me afterwards. You can send a reminder if that, like, let's say tomorrow it hasn't been signed, I can remind those people to actually sign it, and then they can actually see what's going on. You can set a reminder to timer. Maybe I want to automatically send the reminder in 3 days if they haven't signed it. You can set that right there so that you can actually do it automatically, set and forget, basically, to make sure that that happens. Okay, but that's basically how you do 2 signatures or 3 signatures or 4 signatures on one document. There is a checkbox when you're actually filling that out with multiple signatures that says sign in any order, which means they'll be sent to all of them, and then it'll combine them together. I just did not check the box, so it's sending them in order, and one has to sign it, then the next one has to sign it, and then it comes back. Once they're all signed, everyone gets their own copy with all the signatures on it. So that part's good too. So everybody will get signatures, everybody will see the signatures, and that will happen. All right, so I've done that twice now. What are some of your questions? The big part is practice, actually doing this a few times, sending it to each other, just to make sure that you have it down. And then if you run into questions, being able to contact me and let me go through it with you so I can see what you're doing. We'll do like a Zoom like we are here. I can actually have you share your screen and I can actually see what it is that you're doing or what it is that's happening.
So Roger, when you're on the Adobe sign under in progress, like your screen was just a minute ago,
Yes, ma'am.
how did you get the stuff on the right side? The stuff on the left that says like in progress, waiting for you, completed, canceled, but I don't have what you had on the right side.
Click on when you hover over the actual document or the actual, let me just do it and show you. Let me share my screen again. All right. So when you're on here, you see how it hovers over, it turns gray. If you click on it, it brings up this thing on the right-hand side. If you click on it again, it goes away.
Oh, okay.
So it just gives you more information about it. Make sense?
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problems. All good. That's why we have questions. All right. What other questions do you have? All right. This program's it's a really good program, and it actually has a lot of things to it. You know, and you can use it as little or as much as you want. But it definitely is a powerful program, depending on how you utilize it. So that's the best part about it. Remember all the editing tools that you have available in it. You can also, you have access to Adobe anywhere you want. So if you have a home computer, you can download Adobe Creative Cloud on your home computer, if you go to adobe.com and log in with your credentials, there's a download. Once you go to Creative Cloud, there's a download button to install it on your computer. Now, what I'm saying that is you're like, I'm not working at home. That's okay. You might want to play at home though. With Adobe Creative Cloud, you have 23 programs from Adobe, Photoshop, Premiere, which is like making movies, Illustrator, blah, blah, blah. You can look at them all, make websites, whatever. If you want to play or you want to edit your photos or do whatever, there's all different kinds of programs that you can use. And you have a license for it with this that we have. We bought the whole suite for everybody that gets it, because in education, basically, once we have a district license, it only costs us every time $5 a person. So that part, that's why it's, once you buy a certain number, if it's an individual, it costs you about $180 to $200 for us to buy a license for each person. But once you buy a large number, it gets really small. So utilize it. If you don't know how to use some of these programs, if you Google Adobe Education Exchange, they actually have tutorials there. I mean, if you're teachers, they actually have lesson plans there on how to teach this stuff, but they also have tutorials on how to use the programs. So that's another option that you have for more information, is to go to Adobe Education Exchange. You can also go to YouTube if you're looking for specific things that you want it to do, whether it's this program or another program. Type in what the program is, and you'll see all these videos that come up. That's basically how we have to do a lot of our research when somebody asks us to do something specific. If we don't know how to do it, we have to go learn it so we can teach it. So it's all good. Any other wonderful questions before I kind of wrap this thing up? Okay, well, I hope that you've learned a little bit about how to do your editing, all the tools that are available in Adobe Acrobat DC, and then how to actually make a document that has digital signatures on it and then send those out to other places. The one thing that I just thought of, the one thing that I did not go over that I could actually go over very quickly in about 2 minutes is, I'm not sharing my screen right now, is I can make is how to make a electronic or a fillable form. Let me run through that real quick, because that's the one thing that I failed to cover on here. It's not a big, huge deal. If I'm over here and I go to my tools, I can click on prepare form. And it's going to look at this form to see if there's any blanks that it needs to actually add spaces to. So let's say I've got a fat form. It will read all those boxes, and it will make boxes automatically. This form doesn't have any boxes really, so I don't think it's going to find anything. But let me start it. Yeah, we know that. Yeah. Yeah, I do that. All right, see how it said it didn't find any fields, because there was no real fields for it to find. But that doesn't mean I can't make it into a fillable form. Up here at the top, you see all these little tools. I can add radio buttons, check boxes. I can even add text boxes if I want. And I could say this is maybe my last name and then first name. All those things can be on there, and you can preview your form over here to where it actually is in there. Okay, so go back to my editing. Maybe because it didn't have anything on there, if I make my tooltip actually say last name, and close, preview. When it goes over there, it will actually say last name for me. You can actually make it say last name in there as text if you want to beforehand, but normally you'll say that in your text, like this is the last name with a box. first name with a box, all that kind of stuff. But once you're there and you go to the edit, you'll notice that they're over here. They will be listed all the way down the screen here as you put them in. Let me do that one more time so you can see that there's another one. See how they're listed down here? This is the last name. This is the second box. I can move these around. I can change the order of tabbing between these. So when you tab, that's the reason I'm saying that, is that when you tab, you want it to go through the tabs in sequential order. So if you add something later on, make sure you move it to the proper location on your page so that when you tab, it doesn't make sense, or it makes sense. It doesn't go top, bottom, middle, center. That will annoy people who use the tab button. Okay, so, but other than that, that's pretty much it. When they're done, you just save the document, and now it's a fillable form. And when you send it to them over email, they'll be able to download it, open it up in an Acrobat reader, or Adobe reader, and fill it out, save it, and send it right back to you. No problems. But those fillable forms are really, really easy. And if you've already made the document in Word with spots, that will actually convert it. It'll read those boxes. You won't have to put many boxes in at all. Adobe's pretty good at seeing where it should add a box. So, and these are just up here to add more to you. It doesn't do very good with checkboxes or bullets, or radio buttons. Does anybody know the difference between these two? What's the difference between checkboxes and radio buttons? No? Oh, I was giving you a chance. All right.
Yes, no, I know.
Oh, what is it?
Well, with the circles, you just push on it and it is like you're saying yes. If you're making options like yes or no, and you put the button, then you're choosing yes.
Yes, it's a choice. Absolutely. And that is the difference. Yep, that's exactly correct. When you choose these, you're choosing a group. So there's one selection. When you do check boxes, you can have those on every one, so they can do a check, check, check. Whereas if they're doing buttons, they can only check one for a group. You can make more than one group, but you can have them make sure that they can't select more than one if you put them in one group. So that's the difference. There's also drop downs and some other things you can put in here. If you just want to pre-select what their answers are, you can use drop down boxes and whatnot. So all those are able to be put in here, and then you just save it, and you are good to go on creating a fillable form. That's another one where you need to practice it a little bit. Make a form in Word, and then make it in a PDF, and make it into a form, and it will read those things for you, and then you can see how to add those stuff in there. And if you have any trouble spots, basically, you have my email address, or should, and you should be able to get a hold of me. Okay, that's the big one. But the signatures and the editing are the two biggest things for this class, and that's pretty much it. Anybody have any other questions before we kick the bucket and finish this thing down on the day?
Thank you, Roger. We appreciate it so much for your time.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure. You guys are fantastic. And I just want to make sure that you have the information that you need to make your lives a little simpler, not more complicated. Because the more time that you have, the more time you can help our teachers and our students. And that's the important part that we're trying to get across. So give me a holler if you need any help, and we'll finish this thing up. Okay.
No worries. Expect a phone call.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. You have a wonderful evening. Okay.
Bye. Bye,
All
y'all.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.